What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. So today we're going to start tackling Omicrons. I'm actually breaking it up into 3 separate videos. We're going to go with beginner Omicrons, intermediate, and advanced Omicrons. And the advanced one also will contain like the flex crons that may not be very good or efficient in TW, but they're still fun to do. Anyways, the whole purpose of the beginner video is to kind of give you guys an idea, like a solid foundation on either as a player and how to build your roster. That way you can market yourself for a competitive TW guild, or as a whole guild. This will kind of give you guys some direction on where to start with Omicrons, and also kind of give you guys an idea of where you're at as a guild, possibly, whether or not you're caught up with certain teams and comps and Omicrons. So let's get started. Okay, so this is all just my opinion on, from my experience, what are the beginner must-have, must-need Omicrons. So for me, a beginner Omicron is something that requires not a whole lot of maintenance, not a whole lot of stressing on mods, and something that, it's just a lot easier to put together. This is nowhere in terms of what are the most powerful Omicrons, because everything is very situational, especially with Datacrons in the mix. But this will give you guys an idea on where to go to. So we're going to start, and this is, by the way, this is in no particular order either. So this is just the order I put it in. But we're going to go with Captain Faesma. This is probably the first Omicron I will say you should apply for TW. This is a very good Omicron. I'm not sure why it hasn't gotten nerfed yet. It's really good, guys. It's really, really good, and there's not a whole lot of maintenance. The modding is pretty easy on this team. Now that they just have the light speed bundles, this team is pretty much ready to go. Other than the Zetas that you need to put on it, but this team is very good. For lower guilds, like really low guilds, this will provide a great defensive counter. But for the most part, like 90% of the time, you're going to be taking it on offense. The only time it goes on defense is if there's a Datacron that just makes it very good on defense. But if there's a Datacron that makes it very good on defense, more than likely it's going to be even better on offense. So what's the ceiling and what's like the ground point for this team? You have the potential to kill GL, so you can kill Rey, you can kill Lord Vader, you can kill Jabba. It is very high risk to kill GLs, though, because you do have the potential of just dying very, very quickly. But for the most part, any like B-level team underneath it can pretty much wipe the floor with them. In terms of what counters it, I mean, you throw CLS at this and it's pretty much dead. You know what I mean? But for the most part, it's very, very good. It's a very easy team to put together. Low maintenance, low cost. It's a great first option. Okay, next on the list, we have Mara Jade. Okay, this one is very, very universal. I mean, it's pretty much, it's one of those, and unfortunately, it does turn off when you fight a Galactic Legend, but you can use her on literally any team. She's going to get 100% turn rate at the start of the battle. The enemy leader, as long as they're not a Galactic Legend, they're going to lose all of their protection. And then their protection pool is going to be reduced by 50%. So, this will sit gas down at the start of the battle, believe it or not. It's actually pretty cool. The second half of this Omicron, it's nice, whenever enemy units defeated, all allies gain 20% max protection. So it does help, like it makes your team stronger, and then you inflict vulnerable on someone who can't, doesn't already have it randomly. That kind of helps, but if for the most part, it's kind of like the jump start mechanic. This one is really good with a Star Killer team. It's really good under EP. And like I said, it's very universal, either on offense or defense. If it's on defense, it's more likely with a Star Killer team. If it's on offense, it could be with a Star Killer team, or it could be with Emperor Palpatine. But either way, this is a very universal Kron. It's never been bad. She has Empire and Ufu, which are, pretty common tags, I feel like, these days, especially Ufu's with Datacron. So she's always relevant. Next up, we got Johani, the cat lady. This is probably one of my favorite Omicrons in the entire game. This Omicron, she was awful, right? She was just the worst ever. I mean, she's got a lengthy one too. I mean, it's a huge Omi. She is primarily used as Star Killer. I mean, there's not really any other uses out her. I mean, it might as well say Star Killer because it directly calls it out. But she, I think, gives Starkiller the best version of himself. I love Starkiller in JC. I only have one Omi on him in GAC, the unique. But I like Starkiller way more in TW. I think it's the better version of his kit. I think Johani just really, really amps up the team. And the nice thing about her Omicron is it doesn't go away if the Star Killer team is broken. And what I mean by that is if you kill, like, let's say Palpatine or Traya, whoever the lead is, or Malgus if people are still running that, it doesn't break the Omicron. The Omicron is active as long as Johani is alive. I'm not joking. If Johani is the last character alive, that Omicron is still active. It's kind of funny. If it's just Johani and Visas, it's still active. They will both still have Redeemed. And Redeemed is an insane buff. It makes Starkiller very difficult to deal with. It makes it where you're pretty much on a ticking time bomb. Like, you're kind of walking on eggshells because you have a very limited amount of time before he hits ult, and you're always getting just hammered with all these counterattacks and call to assist, and it's just really, really good, guys. So, again, I would definitely prioritize this up by Faesma or Jade. Those are always my top 3 for people that are just starting TW. Alright, next up on the list we have Fulcrum. Fulcrum is pretty much the Wampa of TW. If you just do the Fulcrum Omi, it's really good. It's really, really good, guys. It's I think it's better than Wampa in my opinion because she has a lot more survivability mechanics. She's always dispelling debuffs on her, which is great. You throw a Datacron on her and she's unstoppable. Obviously, you can't set a single character on defense, so this is 100% an offense Omicron. So what are the teams you can kill with her? You can kill Dash, you can kill Adrad, you can solo Grievous, and all of this obviously depending on the Datacron meta, but most Datacron metas, those are the teams you can solo. It's pretty good. It's pretty consistent. Definitely want to take her to R7 minimum, I think, just because, you know, obviously the more she's going in by herself, she needs every stat point that she can get. So I would say R5. You know, R5 can beat R5s, R7s can beat R7s. So you basically don't want to be behind relics in terms of what you're fighting. But those are like the three teams off the top of my head that she can beat. It's just really good. And like I said, it's a single character, very easy to mod. Her Omicron does literally all the work. So again, this is just why it's another beginner Omi. Alright, next up, my favorite character in the entire game. Boba Fett, Scion of Django. Hopefully I can persuade you guys to start liking this guy, because he's extremely good in both GAC and TW. Obviously better in TW. But we're only going to go over his lead for the beginner Omi. It's only his lead. I'm not going to go into his unique or his special yet. Those are for later videos. His lead is very good, guys. Very, very good. If you want a permanent solution to anything and all things Lord Vader, it is his lead, okay? This is a very budget-friendly character because you don't need to mod him very well. I mean, you want to mod him well, but he doesn't need to be fast. I mean, I'm rocking a whole 273 speed on him. That's actually really fast. He was actually by the 270s. He was at the 260. Sorry, he was at the 260s a few weeks ago, but I sped him up a little bit. Yeah, it's not very fast. One Zeta. You know, how many characters do we get in the game that only have one Zeta now? You know what I mean? And his Omi is just fantastic. It's just, you know, it's very similar to what Malgus does for Sith Empire and GAC, but his is just really good, guys. It's just a great lead. Great contract. The true damage you get from it just melts through everything on a Lord Vader team. You can defeat Rey with it. It's a very, very iffy fight. Ever since Ben came into the picture, it's not as easy. Can beat JML. JML's possible. And it's also a good cleanup option for kind of like whatever you have going on. But I mean, he's and like 90% of the time, offense. You're not setting this on defense. If you set that, if this is going on defense, I will let you guys know. Trust me. If there's something that changes in the bounty hunter world, I will make a video on it and let you guys know. But for the most part, this is 100% going to be on offense. I don't think I can't remember the last time I saw it on defense. But yeah, just the lead, guys. Let's go to the next one. Alright, next up on our list is Poggle, and I know I don't even have him relic yet, but I still have the Omi on him, so I don't know what good that does me. It's on his unique, actually, which is kind of cool. This one actually surprisingly got nerfed, believe it or not. This one is so powerful, it got nerfed within like 48 hours of its release. It was pretty depressing, so basically, it used to kill GLs. It used to kill Rey like on auto. So they said as long as all allies are Geonosians and there's no enemy GLs, then your Omi's active. But basically, guys, this is just a giant stat pool. And that's what Geos love, because they love to share their stats. And you also get a free revive out of it, which is kind of nice. Everyone gets a free revive. Everyone kind of gets like a bounty hunter's resolve minus the ignore taunt mechanic, and then it's just good. And the reason this is a very good Omi is because it's cheap. Geonosians are considered pre-Cairo characters, so I think Geonosian Soldier may be the easiest character to get to year 12. I haven't checked with recent characters, but I remember back in the day, you can get him to gear 12 for like nothing. He was very, very cheap. So Geos are very easy to gear. Also, a couple of them are pilots, so that does help your, malevolence flayed a little bit. And it's just one Omi. There's one Omi, and if you look at the faction as a whole real quick, I mean, there's like, what, 2 Zetas? A whole 2 Zetas on this team. So this is a very budget, and again, I've been working on a lot of stuff, all right? Give me a break. I don't have them relicked yet, but they're on my list. It's a very good squad, easy to put together, low maintenance. In terms of modding, I don't think you really need to invest your best mods into this either. So again, a very low maintenance squad for only 1 Omi. You got 2 Zetas, and only 500 Kairos, because you just need the 100 to take them all the relics. So again, very cheap, very manageable. All right, next up we have Embo. I don't like Embo. If you guys been following me for a while, he's the one bounty hunter I just don't like. I love him as a character, but his kit makes no sense to me. His kit is trash. However, his Omicron didn't fix him. Jabba fixed him. Because I used to run his Omicron with Sign of Django, and it was awful. Don't do that. Do not put this Omicron on him unless you have Jabba. I was debating if this was going to be an intermediate Omi or not, but I'm like, he only has really one purpose and one use, and that's pretty much making Jabba harder to kill. So I put it under a beginner Omi, because I feel like most people either are going to get Jabba, or they already have him, or they're close to it. This is a pretty no-brainer. You just slap it on him, and the Omi does all the work. You slap it on him, makes the Jabba team harder to kill. It's pretty much, that's just how straightforward it is. In terms of modding, just make him tanky, I guess. You know what I mean? He doesn't do much damage. He's actually not very fast either. So, again, another low maintenance one. And this will improve your Jabba team significantly. Jabba teams that don't have the Embo Omi are susceptible to a lot more counters. It's kind of hard to go into what those counters are, because they're very Datacron dependent, but this kind of provides a good safe barrier for your Jabba, where it requires a stronger and more consistent, if not an overkill counter, or an overkill, I guess I should say, like an equal Galactic Legend to take it down. After Embo, we have Mace Windu. This one is very, very good at JMK, guys. Very, very good at JMK. I'm trying to remember where it's under. Is it under Ice Sense Weakness? It is. Okay. This one has uses for both defense and offense, which is great. It doesn't also have to be used with JMK, but for the most part, you're going to be using JMK. So this allows you to kind of win mirror matches or lose mirror matches, depending on what's going on. But Mace on defense, if you're fighting a Mace on defense in a mirror, the Shatter Point allows you to target, allows your allies to target that character, which is kind of like, it's almost like a moving marked. It's almost like a moving taunt, except it doesn't hit GLs. So if you're doing a mirror match, you have a 25% chance for it to land on Cat, and you can kill their Cat and ignore taunt right off the rip. And the same thing can happen to you. And it's happened to me several times where I'm just like, are you kidding me right now? This is a really good one. It really just throws RNG into the mix, and we all know how generous RNG can be towards us, so it's a great one. It really is. It's a very passive Omicron. But for the most part, it's you can't plan around it. It's unpredictable, and that's why I think it's really good. Mace is also just insanely good with JMK. So, and you kind of have to kill him first, but in the mirror match. But like I said, if you get screwed with that RNG, it is a big L. All right, last but certainly not least, we have Droideka. This Omi is insane. It is very good defensive Omi. 90% of the time it's going to go on defense. I have gone up against guilds where they didn't set it and they had like 50 of them, so I don't know what they used on it. Used it for on offense. I'd imagine you can probably use it on offense, but GG just typically isn't good banners on offense because he likes his units dying. But this is a great Omi. This is a great Omi, and it honestly, it calls for specific counters. It really does. This is a good Omi that will bleed your opponents a lot of banners. Again, the only thing about this Omi I'm not a fan of is you do have to invest in your Separatist team a little bit more. You need them. I mean, and this goes without saying for all of these counters. You want everybody relicked. You really do. You want to get everyone relic, get that Datacrons on here. But this one in particular, this Omi is awful unless all your characters are relicked. If you just have like 1 or 2 characters that aren't relicked and you can't put Datacrons, this Omi is awful. It doesn't work as well. You really want to get the most out of this one. I mean, I took my Droid to R7. I would love to take him to R8, R9. Because it's just a very tricky team, and then like the thing is, it changes the order of the team because Droid can revive the whole team. So, and I'm not going to go into it and read it. You guys can read it later, but it's just a great Omi, and it really does force out specific counters for General Grievous. Otherwise, they're just going to bleed banners, or they have to overkill it, and then all of a sudden they're just kind of feeling bad about using a very powerful team to kill just a Grievous team. You know what I mean? All right, guys, that's gonna be it for today's video. This is just my opinion on what the beginner like Omis are for TW. This is kind of like the base foundation of building a TW roster. Let me know down in the comments what you think, if there's any I missed, or if you have any questions about any of these Omicrons. The next video, obviously, we'll go over to intermediate Omicrons for TW, and an intermediate Omicron to me is kind of like something where it's like you need to do 2 or 3 other things other than apply this Omi. These ones are usually pretty straightforward. You just kind of slap it on and you're kind of good to go. And like I said, a lot of these are very budget friendly in terms of resource management, mods, zetas, gear, relic levels, etc. But if you like today's video, please be sure to leave me a like. If I've earned it, subscribe. And other than that, guys, have a great day, and I'll see you all in the next video.